Hello. With me is Chairman of the WPBSA and former World Billiard Champion, Mark Wildman. Mark, welcome.
Hi, Steve.
You're known as obviously a commentator these days, and as we know now, the Chairman of the WPBSA. But of course, there was a time when you were very, very hot property in the world of snooker.
I don't know about being hot property. I had a few experiences, Steve, because my career at snooker really was very belated. I think I turned about 1982, and I was born in 36. That dates me at having turned at about, 46 years of age, so really nowhere in today's world I couldn't have done anything.
I was thinking more as a junior.
Oh, were you?
Yes.
Oh, right, that's too far back to really talk about.
Well, I was thinking about the time when as a junior player, people were predicting you to be a world champion.
I'm a modest person. I was a prodigy, a child prodigy.
At the age of?
But it was all timed wrong. Yeah, 14 years of age, I started to play down at what was the mecca then of snooker, which was Barrows Hall in London, on the corner of Soho Square. They closed that down in 1957. Terry Downs, the boxer, took it over. I don't know what's happening to it now. The building still stands because it's listed. So from when would that be? From 1949 up to 1957, I was playing at Barrows Hall every year, 2 or 3 times a year, often. And as a boy player at billiards, yes, I won the Boys Billiards Championship and the Youth Billiards Championship, right, and the Youth Snooker and the Boys Snooker all at the same time. I'm not claiming any fame from that because plenty of people have gone along there that are named players today that have won the Boys Championships. But because I was playing there in those early days, I have great memories of specific things. Barrows Hall, may I describe it to you?
Yes, well, it's something I don't know.
Yeah, well, Barrows Hall, you see, when people say Barrows Hall, Leicester Square Hall, they probably think that either A, it was a billiard hall, or B, it was a hall with tiered seating maybe for 200 to 300 people, and people coming in, something like the fashion of today, but it wasn't. Barrows Hall was the home of Burroughs and Watts, their offices, their training offices, and their showrooms. And downstairs, on ground floor level, you'd walk into the office, and there were 3 rooms stretching back towards the back of the building. The first room had a billiard table in it, under a period design, Edwardian, and there were usually a professional player teaching amateurs then. I recall particularly Sidney Lee. Do you remember Sidney Lee? Used to be referee on Pot Black.
Yes.
He was a former British Empire billiards champion, and Sidney Lee was usually there teaching billiard players. And then you'd go through into another room, which was another period design. If my memory serves me correct, the next period was Victorian. So all around the room, wood panelling and Victorian artifacts around, and Victorian dated snooker table, carvings and all this.
For sale?
For sale. They were there because the market in those days wasn't so much... Burroughs and Watts' office there was aimed at catching the rich gentry. The vicars that had tables in their vicarage and the wealthy landowners. So that's what they were after.
So you go down to compete, and they had a match room?
Yes. They had another room behind the other one, which would have been, once again, I think it was Queen Anne or Regency. You see, so the marvellous tables worth in today's market, £50,000, hand-carved, brilliant. And the boys used to practice in there, but the match room was upstairs, and it held 125 people at best, with a permanent press box. And when you went in there, it was like perhaps walking into the pristine chapel. No, that's not the right word. What's the word?
Sistine Chapel.
Sistine Chapel. Sistine and Pristine Chapel down at the Vatican. It terrified you. It was plush carpeting, beautifully velveted seats, tip-up seats. Nobody said a word. And I met some marvellous characters.
So you were a junior champion in your own area in the Fens?
Yeah.
The Cambridgeshire area?
Yeah.
And were the boys' championships held at Barrows and Watts?
Yes, it was big. It was big time. Boys' championship equated to almost ranking tournaments at snooker in those days. There was no real professional snooker market. Joe Davis was playing at Leicester Square Hall, about half a mile away, and that was a similar type of place. Ted Lowe was the manager at Leicester Square Hall in those days. But a lot of interest went into boys play. And so the boys' thing was a free trip up to London. If you won, you stopped at the Cora Hotel in Woburn Place for a week. Then, and I was winning all the time there. So then I used to come back for the snooker. And on the steam train. And
Was this a yearly
fantastic.
event, or was it more often than that?
No, snooker and billiards once a year,
Right.
and each time was a week.
So then, at that time, would you then go there to watch the top players play, the professionals play?
Yes.
And so you would have seen Joe Davis play at Leicester Square or at Barrows and Watts?
Oh yes, I played Joe Davis when I was 17 years of age at Barrows and Watts Hall on BBC television, half-an-hour programme one Tuesday night, and I also went and watched him play down at Leicester Square Hall. And the match I remember was John Pullman, bless his heart, departed Pulley, and Joe Davis. And I should always remember that because I couldn't understand Pulley's language. Every time he missed it, he used to go to the corner, can't repeat what he used to say. he hadn't changed the last time we saw him.
John Paul, one of the great swearers as he walked back to his
fantastic.
table.
Wow, what a fantastic character.
Obviously, Joe Davis was more controlled. I've never seen that guy play other than some small footage. But I mean, you shook hands with him, played with him.
He was.
What was that like as a kid?
Well, I hope, bless him, if he's listening, he'll take this in the kind manner. He was Saddam Hussein. He used to run snooker, Joe Davis.
Right.
That's a cruel analogy, really. But what I'm saying, he was all powerful, was Joe. He was the WPBSA of those days, and he was the one that said, yeah, you can come in Rex and you can come in Pulley,
right,
but you've got to do it right, and you've got to walk around the table, you've got to watch your manners.
So he said if you were a professional or not?
Yeah, he did.
That was 49. How many professionals were there then?
Well, I can remember probably a dozen. There were a couple from Canada. Perry Mans from South Africa, who was related Peter Mans,
yes,
related to Perry Mans of the 70s fame, if you remember. And you do remember, just, don't you?
Yes, I do, yes.
And I've got to make sure of that, because you're getting on a bit as well. There'll be somebody talking like this to you, you know, in the opposite seats in about 20 years' time, Steve.
So let's get this right now. So in 1949, there were a dozen professionals chosen by Joe Davis, who had gone totally from billiards to become a snooker player.
Yes, but totally from... They all had a billiards background, I would think. Most of them had a billiards background. Rex Williams, who just joined about 17 or 18, was a couple of years older than me, Rex was, and Pulley. They had a billiards background, yes. John Barry, billiards background. They all had a billiards background, but snooker had started in 35, 36 at world level, and the war had intervened, and it had stopped billiards in its tracks, and from post-war years onwards, they started to get into snooker. So they were good players, please believe it.
Obviously. Yeah. So then you came along as a child prodigy, and what happened then? Why did you not turn professional then? You turned professional after me. I turned professional in 78. You turned professional, I think, in 79 or
no, 82 I turned
82,
professional.
82. Yeah. So what happened then? Did you stop improving, or was there you weren't allowed to turn professional?
No, I could have turned professional, but you know, my father and I decided really, and it was a mutual thing. I don't recall ever having a meeting with him, but we gradually slipped into this business. Listen, you've got to get your school certs. There were school certs in those days, and you've got to get a career. And you know, and once I was on that map, I never gave it a second thought about turning professional. I just went into my commercial career, and I kept playing. You know, kept playing as an amateur.
Right, but then the amateur scene, the amateur snooker scene, and the players you would have interacted with would have been possibly as good as if not better than some of the professionals. It was just in name only.
Oh, I agree with you. There were a lot of amateur players. Just every town, every major town, I better say, had its share of 100-rate snooker players, which isn't a lot by today's standards. We know that doesn't mean anything because they've got dozens of them. Towns of 50,000 will have a dozen 100-rate snooker players. But we're talking about a game that hadn't evolved. You know, you watch tennis at Wimbledon in 1948, 49, and they're playing slow paddleball over the net, but they were the great players of their days.
Yes.
And the amateur players that we're referring to in the early 50s were great players, wonderful touch players, using the cushions a lot.
Better than the professionals? You know, because of you talk
there
about
was a sharp difference. The professionals, their media came through the newspapers and broadcasting, amazingly, not television, of course, and they were kept apart from the amateurs. I don't think professionals really were encouraged to play amateur players without giving them a start. It was part of the deal. If a top player was playing Alec Brown, Albert Brown, Joe Davis, John Pullman, they had to receive a start. just to retain the difference. Good selling point, because if they lost, it's because they gave them a start. But I think they all had the same. They all had the natural ability to go on to be professional players. I'd have to say that. Yeah. Sorry, I've got to qualify it, because if they'd had a billiards background, right, they wouldn't have been able to pick up the billiards background. I think people like Williams, Rex Williams in particular, and you've seen him play at his best years back. Rex Williams had a wonderful touch. His timing in snooker came a bit late for him in life, but he had a marvellous touch. You know, Joe Davis' skills at billiards and snooker, so they wouldn't have been quite in that class, I don't think, no.
When I started playing, my father had the book How I Play Snooker by Joe Davis, and this aura, you know, the greatest player ever, was how I viewed him, and to some extent still do. When I came along on the snooker circuit, people started to refer to me as, you know, who was the best. Now, you can't really judge eras, but people were saying, you know, is such and such better than this era? And all of a sudden, I had this feeling that perhaps Joe Davis wasn't as good as they were making out. But then listen to other people, and they will say, well, he was fantastic. So now you've played the guy. I've never even met the bloke.
I can make a final decision on this quite easily, can't I? I think Joe Davis, the greatest ever, was correct when it was said. See?
Yeah.
When it was first muted, this man is the greatest player ever. Okay, so he was. By the time he retired in 1964, 65, he was. He'd seen everybody that had attempted to take his number one position away from him, just seen them off, blew them off.
Including his brother?
Well, his brother was the one person that he had a bit of a problem with.
10 years younger than him,
yes,
Fred Davis.
Yes, and what a great player he was, playing in the Embassy World Championships. I think, I'm taking a guess here, so I think he played last around about the early 1980s, and he was 60 when he was playing then. What a striker of the ball. What a phenomenal player he was at snooker.
He had a longer career in snooker.
Yeah. I think Joe Davis was the best of his time, was the best. If it was claimed in 1975, that was true. Well, so Sidney Wooderson was the fastest miler of his ever.
Of course.
Followed yes. Fight at 4.5 seconds, now it's 3.50, you see.
So as a junior, who were the good players around that we would know, the public would know, in your time? Were Ray Reardon around? No, of course he was.
Yes, he was.
So who were the juniors you interacted with, and what were they like then?
Cliff Wilson, Marcus Owen. You remember? You remember the name Marcus Owen?
Yes,
there were two brothers, yes. Marcus Owen, both dead now, and John Virgo came slightly after me. Cliff Wilson, in particular, he was in my mob. And I just got him on the back end. He was 2 years older than me, and I got him on the back end of it was last year in the youths and my first year in the youths. And who's the best potter today, in your opinion? Potter.
Long Potter?
Yeah. Tell me something.
Mark Williams.
I've never seen anybody, never will see anybody just like that fellow was, Wilson.
What was he like? Cliff Wilson was a larger-than-life character. I remember. Sadly, he's dead now.
Yeah.
But I mean, when I used to meet him and play him, he was laughing and joking around the table. He made it appear like he didn't care. I don't know if that was a defence mechanism, but I mean, was that how he was as a junior or as a younger amateur?
No, he was. It was just the same. I think it is defence mechanism or an attack mechanism, whichever you want to. You know, he's not trying. He doesn't care, but he's trying. I remember 2 games. Cliff Wilson played. Now, who was it he was playing? He was playing in a classic championship at Barrows Hall, big time. It might even been a final, but I remember that his opponent broke off with a 73. Can you do this? 73. And Wilson cleared up with a 75. Is that right? 73, 74.
72.
72, 73. Yeah. 2 shots.
Yeah.
They could play. And on that table, phew.
I played Cliff Wilson as an amateur years ago. It was a best-of-5 final in one of the many pro-am competitions they used to have around the country in the 70s.
Yeah.
And it was 2-2, and we drew the last frame. So it was a re-spotted black. The winner got about £400, the loser got 100. Very small money. You got expenses more than anything else. So he came up to me, he said, we've come a long way in the tournament. It was on a weekly basis. We kept on going backwards and forwards. He said, shall we split the money? Now, this was something that I wasn't really up for. I didn't know what to do. I was embarrassed the fact he'd come across to me. I walked across just before the last final re-spotted black. So I shook my head, and I was quite insecure as a kid anyway, so I went, no. So then he won the toss, and he tried to cut the blacking off the spot to beat me.
Ah.
And it missed, and I potted it. But I mean, what a player!
So you made an extra £200. I'll tell you a game to back that one up, or to go in front of that one properly. I played Wilson in the qualifiers of the UK Championship back in 1985-86. I was leading 8-1. It's the first one to 9. He pulled up to 8-all. So he needed 3 snookers with 1 red on the table to win 9-8. He gets the snookers. He now needs the balls to tie. He knocks the balls in, and it's a tie. From being 8-1 up, it's now 8-all. What happened? He won the toss, put me into break. I left the ball on the green spot. He smashed it in at 100 miles an hour. But the cue ball hit one cushion, then another, and started rolling towards the corner pocket. And it was right in the pocket where I was looking. I was almost sucking this white ball. It stopped on the edge and went in. And he lost on the respotted black because he went in off it.
From being 8-1
Yeah, from being 8-1 in front.
9.
So, Cliff Wilson then, in absolutely prime position, just when he needs to be, having come back from 4-2 down.
16.
Mark was asking me, does he throws the presentation? What happens to the
17.
we go for the presentation? Is Mark sort of takes Mark sort of then this chat or?
Have a look like going in.
So, Cliff Wilson having really loosened the balls around, just slightly in a bit of positional trouble. One more good pot. Wants to land on a colour. Eddie had the game in his pocket a couple of frames ago, failed to take advantage of it. And now Wilson emerging as clear favourite in the deciding frame.
He didn't really win much as a professional. But he must have at one stage. I mean, my real hero as I was growing up was Ray Reardon. But many people used to say that in the valleys, the master of the two was Cliff Wilson.
Yes, because they came from the Tredegar area and the near valleys of Wales, and they were the same age, roughly, and they used to have some real battles down there. I think that the better all-round player was Ray Reardon by quite a long chalk, but that doesn't mean to say Wilson, didn't have his Reardon scamp quite a few times, because he did. But the exciting player was Wilson.
And now to the winner. It's a cheque for £16,000. The trophy and the title of the 1991 World Seniors Champion goes to Cliff Wilson.
Cliff, many congratulations. You must be thrilled.
Yeah, delighted probably. Shocked is a better word than any of the others. I think the last tournament I won was a Christmas handicap in the club in 1961.
Now, you must have thought, mustn't you, when Eddie had just the blue, or needed just the blue and the pink for the game at 4-2, you were out of the tournament.
Yeah, but it was the blue, and they don't like potting that in Australia. Yes, I was. I was home in the ranch. Yes, Eddie felt a bit generous, I think.
Eddie was making most of the breaks, and 87 in the first frame and several half-centuries.
That was the plan. Let him wear himself out. Let him do all the potting, and I'll come at the death,
And you seem to get stronger in that last frame.
Yeah, there's a little masseuse out there, and in between, she had her working on me a little bit, yeah. I did. I tried awful hard in the last game. And you may have noticed I don't seem to try that hard. I can't, but all of a sudden something happens, and my memory starts to work, and I start potting a few.
Now, is this result going to be a prelude for a successful season, do you think?
That was the successful season.
He used to unnerve a lot of players by his attacking aggression, which these days is probably now commonplace. But in those days, people used to be much more defensive.
Yeah, but so they are. I've got to switch this round. So they were against you. If they were drawn against you when you were playing at your prime, if you'll forgive, you're not. You may say you were black down on it. If that, okay. But when you're in your prime, I think you knew you'd got somebody beaten before you played them. and the player knew that you knew that, so it was hopeless for him. So hopeless that I can recount another story. You may not remember this, but I played you on Pot Black.
I don't remember.
I did. I was lucky to get in because it should have been Thorburton's place, but Thorburton had gone to Canada, and I was number 17 seed at the time at snooker, and so I got it in 1984.
Right.
So now they have this draw on television, don't they? There's my wife sitting there with my daughter and sitting there. Oh, you're going to get don't get Davis. Mark Wildman versus Steve Davis.
Oh.
Now, it was 2 weeks' time, and you absolutely ruined my life for 2 weeks. but I am a trier in life. Great trier. Right, so what do? I'm terrified that I'm going to make a bad break and that you are going to clear the board. So the little lad from next door used to come round after his schooling days, and we used to rack the balls up 50 times. All we did was rack the balls up, and I broke. And his job was to collect the balls up, put in the triangle, and do it again. And I'd got my break timed to perfection, and it was round right behind the green, not on the ball cushion, so that you weren't going to clear up, right?
Right.
So I didn't mind meeting you. What I forgot was that you spanned for break and I lost the toss. I lost the toss. You break off and left me snookered, and you cleared the board next shot. That's what you did to me.
Oh, tremendous. You had your moments, not just in snooker, but I mean, one moment that sticks out for me, and I remember I used to like it, every kid used to buy all the snooker magazines, Snooker Scene, open it up and devour every word.
Yeah.
And I used to look for, all of a sudden, I used to look through Clive Everton's World of Billiards, because billiards featured quite a lot in his life and in Snooker Scene, in snooker's life, really. Yeah. And there was a moment I read in astonishment that Mark Wildman, just a name I'd read, had made an average of 177 points per shot in a billiards tournament. Yeah. And I just could not believe what I was hearing or reading. I was a junior billiard champion.
I remember.
I used to average 10. That means every time I went to the table, I scored 10 points per my shot. Then the other guy to go, then I got another 10. And you divide the amount of points by the amount of strokes you have. And all of a sudden, I look at this result sheet, and Mark Wildman averaged 177 points per shot in a competition.
What a fantastic player he must have been then.
Well, would have been then. It wasn't that long ago.
No, about 16 years ago.
You won the World Billiard Championship. I think that was another particular tournament in Australia.
No, it was the World Open Championship. Yeah.
And what was the scores?
Oh, I don't know, but I did average 177. I got.
Was that your best achievement ever?
As an average, it was a world record. Yeah.
Still, is it still?
I don't know. I really don't know. That was over an
hour. I love it.
It was over an hour and a half, and that's a funny time. Over 3 hours, I made 126.5 that day, which was pretty good.
You averaged over 3 hours of playing billiards, 126.
Yeah.
And you were worried about breaking off.
Yeah, snooker. Yeah.
Are the balls different sizes or?
No. Listen, I know billiards, the game, and snooker, I left it alone quite a lot, and at the end of the day, I almost forgot how to play. I'm just starting to play again at home, you know.
Billiards?
Just for a bit of, no, snooker.
Oh, sorry, right,
Just for a bit of fun to see what can happen. I don't believe that you have to if you're sound mind and body, and I think I might be, but I don't know, right? I don't think that you have to accept that you can't play so well, you know. And I'm guided by watching you quite a lot. I see you and I come and have a chat with you.
Yes.
Because I see you playing as well as you've ever done 10, 15 years ago. You play as well as that now, occasionally. Yes?
Yeah.
So it's obvious I'm going to say, well, if you do it occasionally, why can't you stretch occasionally into a bit more often?
A bit more often. Well, I think sometimes perhaps you don't get the breathing space in tournaments. I mean, I still feel as if I play pretty well. You obviously, you certainly want to have the urge to have a game yourself, and I don't think you lose the skill and the ability. I think what happens, I mean, certainly my position, when I was at my peak, when I wasn't playing that well, I wasn't getting punished, and therefore that particular match would be forgotten, and I'd move on, and as the tournament progressed, I'd reach my peak. So I think now, when you're talking about success and failure and the levels you play at, I think you get punished so severely now for anything less than brilliance that you're out before you have the chance to play well.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's the same in the billiard world, but I mean, certainly for me, that's how I view it myself.
I think there's other factors come into it, and that is that as you get older, you have more obligations in life. You know, when you're a teenager, centering on being best in the world at snooker, right, you're going to really concentrate on it. You've got the will, you've got the urge to do it, and it seems, and it's proven just about, that you've got to do this thing before you reach, we'll say, maturity in life. So you've got to do it in your 20s. You're not going to do it in your 30s. Right, so by the time you've got there, right, now you're 30, so you've got family, you've got obligations, you've got a lot of television work and this, that. You can't practice the same, can you?
No, perhaps you can't. But then, judging by what I know about you, junior prodigy, being able to make the balls talk at billiards, then with a different, perhaps if you turn the clock back, do you not think you could have been world snooker champion? You know, but let's forget modesty. If you were that good, if you'd have thrown yourself at the time into, would you? You'd have been close to it. Surely.
Can we say, if I say it was possible, but it's possible it might have happened. But there were some very good snooker players around. The Wilsons, the Reardons, the Rex Williams. These were my contemporaries, and they were exceptionally good players. Pat Houlihan, who used to play in London. Norma Buck from your part of the world. People not known to listeners, but really, really fine players.
If you were trying to pick a top five or a favourite five, whichever, and obviously we're talking about different eras. So if you're talking about the best players ever, I think it's probably understood that the best players ever are probably the players that are currently playing the game.
Yes. I have to concede to that.
So, but who would you say are your favourite top five? For whatever reason.
In other words, they're playing for me in a team against five from another planet.
The ones you pick for whatever reasons.
What, for a strength of team?
Strength of team, or the characters involved, the ones that appeal to you?
Desert Island Company.
Desert Island.
Oh, that's
Desert Island snooker players.
Well, you can
the
be
top
there.
five.
You'll be there.
That's very kind of you. Thank you.
You'll be there. I think Reardon would be there.
Yeah, Ray Reardon. For
Yes.
what reasons?
I loved his all-round game, and he's got these mannerisms, and he was caricatured with somebody that everybody could take off. You know, these things off the table.
I used to be frightened of Ray Reardon.
Yeah, he'd tie
He
you up,
frightened
wouldn't
me.
Yes, that's right.
He had an air of, he had a superiority complex.
Oh yes, that's right. He used to look down, didn't he?
He looked down at you,
Yes.
didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Marvellous way of doing it.
Yeah.
And he'd laugh, and everybody thought he was like this marvellous, jovial character with that little bit of obviously grit and determination.
Oh,
that was
yes.
he was the Dracula of the. You know,
He used to. I think that you tended to shape. You were affected a little bit by his style of game. You probably weren't consciously so. Perhaps other people played his style of game, but he used to pick the balls off one by one and knock the balls around after he'd taken every possible loose red before he goes into them. Whereas today, a lot of them go straight in when they got the angle.
yes.
Well, because he'd say to himself, it's all really weighing up the levels of the person you're playing. In those days, if you got 50 or 60 in front, you're pretty odds on to win the frame. I'm going back race time, 70s, 70s, early 80s. 50 or 60 in front was a healthy lead. You know, a good chance you're going to win the frame, but that's not the case now, because you see it time and time again where at top level, the crucial red is missed, 3 or 4 reds from home, and the opposite can go straight and clear the board.
Yeah,
See?
yeah.
So
in his time, Ray Reardon,
yes.
over John Spencer, who was the other player.
Oh, he's another fabulous player. He was, and he wasn't there for very long. John Spencer.
Would he have a towel on your
I think he
beach?
would actually. I'll tell you why.
That's
he
two.
wa-
You've only got
No, I've
5.
got yourself.
Right,
I've got
two. Okay.
I've got yourself, Reardon, Spencer, 2 greats of their time.
That's
weren't
3.
they?
You've got 2 more. That's
2 more, yes.
Well, you're putting Spencer in the top in your favourite.
Well,
5.
you asked me for Desert Island.
Yes,
didn't you?
perfect,
Yes,
yeah.
I'd have Davis there. Sorry, the other Davis, Joe Davis, because he'd chair the meeting all the time. I'd try and knock him off, but he'd always chair the meeting. No matter whether Ray was superior, he wasn't superior as Joe Davis, he'd be chairing the meeting.
Do you not think with these people that you'd have Joe Davis and Ray Reardon, there'd be a bit of friction in who wanted to be top dog there?
But as long as they're fighting each other, I don't care. No, but I've not done my homework on this. You've asked me live, and these are people that we've been talking about, and I've got to say that I'd marry up with those. I'm just trying to select one. Is it one more?
One more you've got. You're down to one more. You've really gone in the 70s.
If I'm going to have, if it's there for Desert Island, I'd have to listen to either Pullman or Williams raconteuring for the laughs. They're snooker players.
Snooker player, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, of course. So what about all the new
Oh,
players? Stephen Hendry and Mark
yeah.
Williams, John
Well,
Higgins,
you said Desert
Ronnie
Island, they haven't got-
O'Sullivan. Yeah, but I mean, well, to play as well, to
right,
watch and to
then.
play.
Talk about them in general. These are younger people, and you know, I'm on with their grandfather. Am I? No, father. Father.
Perhaps grandfather.
Yes, father. Maybe so. Right. Stephen Hendry. He took your mantle over, didn't he?
Yes.
You did a silly thing. I've got to tell you. I nearly rang you up to tell you.
What
Don't-
recently? Or
No. Don't go to Scotland and play Stephen Hendry on that exhibition in 1990 or 89. Do you remember it?
I remember going, doing it. Yeah, for me, it was more work. For obviously, for Stephen, it was more important.
Yeah, and he never won a game, did he?
I can't really remember because they were exhibition days for me. But I mean, it's quoted that was the point that made Stephen into a top player.
It would have helped him.
Everything does as you're,
Well, why
as you're
shouldn't it
going
help
through.
people
Yes,
anyway?
exactly.
Yeah,
I think probably I played a lot of players at Romford in the Matchroom Club. They were brought down to play me. I played Ray Reardon, John Spencer, Alex Higgins, and all those players.
Higgins.
I suppose I fed off them, but everybody feeds off
Yeah,
the
of
older
course you do.
players.
Of course you do. You learn shots as well. And
But
still,
you wouldn't have. So you've gone for quite decent people. That's it. You've got for decent,
We talked Desert
polite
Island.
people. So your Desert Island would be quite a delightful place. There wouldn't be any aggravation, and there also wouldn't be, without being detrimental to any of the players you've mentioned, there wouldn't be too much flair there, would there?
Flair, what? Playing flair?
Playing flair.
Playing flair? No, probably wouldn't. No.
Why not?
No. Because flair's a peculiar thing, isn't it? Who are the flair players? Higgins, Alex, very poorly. Alex, a flair player, if ever there was one, you know that, don't you? What a player. He could play shots I wouldn't believe possible. He'd go extra flairish. Flair.
Jimmy White.
Oh, yes.
See these names. I worry about
Jimmy
your top.
White.
I want to try and persuade you not to take me on, or perhaps John. Why John Spencer? Not many people have seen John Spencer playing from this era.
Well, because I was talking about Reardon, I started thinking about Spencer at the same time, and you mentioned it as well. And I recall playing Spencer quite a few times in exhibitions. I think he's the only guy that's made 4 century breaks in succession. He made those against me in an exhibition, and you can't get any better than that, can you? On a hard table.
No.
So he made, and also he had a very good repartee with the crowd. And I always remember he's played at one private house, and they'd got a fox's head, a stuffed fox's head in the room, and the place was full of people, about 40 or 50 people. You know, no air in the place. Spencer was smoking, and it was his turn to go to the table. He got up from his with his cigarette in his mouth, got up from his seat, and went and put it in the fox's mouth, and the fox looked so it was smoking. It cracked the place up. He had a great turn of wit. Yeah, in fact, I've got a funny story to tell you about it. I wonder if I dare tell you this as chairman. I might get myself the sack. I will tell you it. I remember this one. Right, this was in the days. You remember Rex and Willie having a row at Blackpool some years ago because Willie had missed a few shots and
Rex Williams.
Yeah, Rex and Willie.
And Willie
were playing.
Thorne.
Yeah,
Right.
Willie Thorne. Rex accused Willie of missing the ball, you see. This was before
the
miss
deliberate
rule.
miss.
Do you remember?
Oh, right, yes.
This was before the miss rule, when if you were laid a snooker,
You could
the
deliberately
first thing you
miss.
do was miss and make sure it didn't leave anything.
Okay, yes.
And the referees couldn't do anything about it, could they?
No.
You see, so I mean, it was killing to a guy. It was a good snooker player. You see this guy give 4 away and leave nothing, you see. So Wrexham, I'm just giving you the scenario.
Rex had laid a snooker on Willie.
And Willie had
played a
was on his-
2-cushion escape, and then the white ball's come all the way back down the
You got
table,
it.
and Rex is in trouble.
That's right, you've got it, that's right. Of course, Rex had a pop, and I don't know whether it was right or wrong, but it's all fun when you look back. You say, well, I was playing John Spencer after I played Wilson, the game I recounted earlier, in the UK, and he was about number 3 seed at the time, 1984, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was about number 3 seed, and I'm coming from from 17 or whatever it was. I wasn't 17 at the time, I don't think. I was probably about 20, right? But he's hot favourite to win, and I got into the lead, playing well. And
Best of 17.
yes, first one to what's that? First to 9.
First to 9.
Good maths. Yes, first to 9. Right, I got up to 7-5, and Spencer had laid me another snooker, and I just missed it again. And
Sounds like you're cheating.
oh, don't say that. No, don't say that. No, I can't have that. So Spencer says, referee says 4 away. Spencer says, Mr. Referee, I protest. This man is the world billiards champion. Every time I leave him a snooker, he's missing it by a mile. And you're not seeing it. Referee says, I'm happy. He says, I'm not happy with that. He said, I want you to ask the tournament director to come to the table. Now the crowd are getting buzzing, and they're all looking at me saying, he's trying to put you off, he's trying to put you off. I sat there all self-righteous and thinking to myself, like this. And I really thought this was a trying to put me off job, you see. And for the moment, you know how psychology works? The crowd was saying, he's trying to put you off, he's trying to put you off. And I thought, so I played to it, he's trying to put me off, you see. So tournament director came in and said, I'm happy with it, play on. So the game now got really
Nasty.
Yeah, tetchy this, tetchy that.
Tetchy on the snooker table.
And he started to pull up, and in the end I just scraped home 9-7, went to shake hands with him up the edge. You won't mind me telling you this, because there's a really humorous finish to this. He said, I don't want to shake hands with you. He said, you shouldn't be in this game, this, that, and you cheated your way through this game, because I'm all like this, agog with all this. And well, if that's what professional snooker's about, I said, I don't think I want to know much more of this. Got on to my wife, told her the same thing, you know what I mean? I've won, but it's been so nasty. Anyway, a little while later, we're down at the hotel, and I get in the lift to go up the 5th floor, and who gets on the 2nd floor? Spencer. He goes into the corner of the lift, looking the other way, and I'm looking the other way. It's only a small place, the lift. I says, John, we might as well talk this out. You accused me down there of deliberately missing. He went, yes. I said, you were right.
Who do you think's the best out of the modern breed of player?
My money goes, who does my money go on to win the money?
Currently,
Currently, can I have, say, 3? Can
obviously,
I have 3?
yes.
3 would be John Higgins, and I don't know whether Stephen's just slipping a little bit of late. I think O'Sullivan does have to be switched on to win. Great player that he is, but he has bad games. Phenomenal cueist, the best cueist that I've ever seen, including Joe Davis. That cue straight through. I'm beginning to like Stephen Lee, so I'd have to spin the coin up between Stephen Lee and Stephen Hendry.
Terry Griffiths once made a statement about myself and Stephen Hendry, which I thought was very accurate. He said that Steve Davis used to strangle the opposition, cut them off from oxygen.
Oh, I think you're about right, yeah.
And
He never had a shot, kept off the table, playing from the baulk cushion all the time.
And then I would clear up as like a vulture after the person was more or less lying there in the desert,
that's right.
starved of anything.
That's how I would say it.
Stephen Hendry would steamroller players. Do you not think he's the best steamroller player there's ever been?
I think John Higgins is like that, yeah. Steamrollering, yeah. So's Lee, aren't they? They're a bit the same-ish, aren't they? They're out to attack, and they don't. There's not too much niceness about getting into trouble first, unless they're forced into that position.
Attack.
Very attacking players, yeah. Very
so,
attacking.
is there any artistry gone out of the game because it's all attack, or?
Well, funny you should say that, as Pully would say. I don't think cushions are used like they used to be.
You mean? No, I understand.
A lot of stun and screws, even with angled screw shots. They'll take them on rather than sometimes using side running through going off cushions. I'm not saying that they should. I'm merely noticing that they don't.
The idea, I suppose, is to make the white ball travel as small a distance as possible to the next shot.
Yes.
Or do you think that's a change in cloth or balls, or just perhaps positional plays become a hybrid of itself and it's actually become more accurate?
Well,
do you see? I mean,
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. I think it's to do with the balls, the television lights, for instance. I've not always got television lights. The cloth, yes. I think those factors help to make screwing back a lot easier, you see, than it was when Reardon was winning his championships. You didn't see Reardon screwing the ball back like that, did you?
John Spencer screwed the ball.
Well, he used to do it.
Yeah.
Probably his first one ever saw the game.
Well, so where does Alex Higgins come into this whole equation?
Oh, well, he was a people's man, wasn't he, of his day. Hordes used to fill the hall and watch him. They travelled with him. And why? He was so gutsy, wasn't he? He was so gutsy. Blood, sweat and tears from Higgins. Oh, he was. Never gone. Yeah. I was going to mention, Steve, just one reflection on Burroughs and Watts, how one of the last games of snooker, and do you mind me just mentioning this? Last games of snooker I ever remember playing was in the final of the London Championships. It was a big game in the sparse arena of snooker in the 50s. And one of the guys I was playing, you may know the name, was a chap called George Humphreys. He was a diamond cutter from Holborn. And it was George Humphreys versus Martin for the final of the London Championships. And of course, because it was George was from Holborn, quite a few people used to come. Right. So we all had to get outside. We all had to get to Barrows and Watts Hall for a start at 2 o'clock. So if you didn't get there by 2, you're gone. You're finished, right? There's quite a few people in the hall, and George Humphreys hadn't turned up. And we began to get a bit worried. Where was George Humphreys? So at 5 minutes to 2, we're outside the front of Barrows Hall looking, where's George Humphreys? And with about 2 minutes to go, round the corner of Soho Street came a lady pushing an invalid chair, right? And the invalid chair had got a periscope, black periscope sticking out of it. I thought, that's George Humphreys. And he came up, he says, oh, Mark, he said, I'm sorry about this. He said, I'm sorry I'm late. He said, but I can't play. But I thought I'd just come up just to show you the position that I'm in. I just can't play, so here I am. Best of luck. Oh, George, what's the matter? He said, I just can't move. My back's gone, you see. I said, oh, well, okay, bad luck. He said, I'll come up. He said, let me see if I can get up the stairs. About 3/4 of an hour later, I've shaken hands. I've lost 5-0. all those fits into where I came from years back.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now things have changed. You don't play so much. You may practice a bit, but you don't change so much.
I enjoy playing more now than I ever did, believe it or not. How's that?
How do you fit that in with the fact you're commentating, and also recently you've become the chairman of the WPBSA?
Yeah.
Do you enjoy the role of being the chairman?
It's post-appointment time at the moment, and the gloss has gone off the gingerbread. Is that right? No,
sounds good.
Should we say off the guild?
Fantastic.
whatever, we'll say off the guild. Right. And
I'm going to go back and gloss my gingerbread now.
And it's an exciting time for us. We have had a plateau of the game for quite a few years, and I suppose previous incumbents have probably had the same type of problem and scenario that we've got, but nothing really has. We haven't gone upwards since about 1992 or 3. And taking that as a general trend, we've seen perhaps a slight trend downwards in the game in general. That's even at grassroots. So the challenge is there. Can we help repair the position the game is in? Can grassroots be improved? That's club play, numbers playing. That's the commercial trade side of snooker, which is very, very important. Can we see better times in front of us financially with WPBSA? And that means, of course, in due course, more prize money for players, more tournaments. Can we see that? Well, there's a peep that it might be there. And I don't sound too optimistic, but I am a little bit optimistic, as you will know, because you sit on the board as well. There are little hints of sunshine shining through the gloom, which is sponsorship interest, home sponsorship interest, as well as possible international sponsorship over in the Asia area, which is, that side of the world where we think we might expand more than any other. Can't really see us going to America, for instance. So it's a challenge, and I think with hard work and diligence, we give ourselves a good chance.
But what will happen from your point of view is you will continue, I'm sure, to be involved in snooker whichever way, and commentating has been how many people have been introduced to you. And you must enjoy that.
I have enjoyed it. Specifically, I've done a little piece with you now and again, haven't I? And let me say now that when a good player, top-ranked player, found time to spend half an hour in the box, like you did occasionally, John Parrott has done it, Dennis Taylor is not a top-class player, but I don't mean that. No, Dennis Taylor's been going there a long time. You know what I mean? But when they come in, and Willie Thorne, he does it as well, I notice that they read the game at modern-day standards, where if you're not careful, you can be stuck in a reading of the game how it was when you were playing, like in the 80s. Shots are slightly different, attitudes are different. So when you came in and the other of us came in, it helped people like me who'd been there quite a long time. It said to me, hey, listen, get with it, boy. You didn't see that shot that Willie just called, did you? You know what I mean?
But then the snooker player can get too carried away with the game and start just going, "Oh, this shot, and predicting the shot. Whereas your job is more to say, hold on, wait a minute, let's give the viewer a little bit more of a balance here. So
Yeah.
you must have enjoyed interacting with different commentators over the years.
Oh, fantastic.
To try and sell the game.
Yeah, yeah. The old ITV days, and when ITV came on in 1982, I think they tried very hard to make snooker work, and they came out in 1990, as you know, and they're back again now. And they even went so far as, and we were lucky here, to make the television commentators mini stars in a way. You follow what I mean?
Yeah.
They used to pay us very well and used to give us status. It made that, you know, it's not quite like it was now.
But you were new to commentating then.
Yes. And
So who were the experts that you were taken under somebody's wing, or?
Well, the first commentary I ever did was with Rex Williams in one of the pro celebrities up in Yorkshire. And then I got involved with Pulley. I was linking up with Pulley quite a lot.
John Portman.
He used to go to sleep, you know, and then he used to open it and go to sleep, and I used to give him a tap when we were closing the frame, and he'd say, and close the frame. But, and then...
You've been going to sleep during what?
Well, he might have had a late night, Pulley. You know,
Right,
he might
a few-
have late
a
night
few beers.
occasionally, no. Yeah, sometimes just have a wink, you know, with the cans on.
And so then you were talking all the time.
No, I used to talk sometimes more than I needed to in the middle of a frame, but Pulley would open and close it with that lovely bass voice that he's got. But if he was awake, he'd also do the middle bits. Great character, that man. Great character. And then.
What are your? I mean, my memories of him in the studio, in the commentary box, was sometimes you couldn't really understand what he was saying, but he had such a good voice.
Oh, he was great. He was terrific.
Well, it's been really fascinating speaking to you. Thanks very much for your company.
It's been a pleasure.
And,
Thanks, Stephen, yeah.
and good luck in whatever you do.
Bless you. Thanks.
Thank you.